can I take you back to Pakistan?
Yeah.
The Cipher cable, supposedly that's been reported. Just I know that you've had some on-record comments on this, but I wanted to ask you about the veracity of the comments. It's obviously a Pakistani document. Does the United States generally think that what was reported there was accurate?
So a few things. One. Yes, it's a report reported to be a Pakistani document. I can't speak to whether it is an actual Pakistani document or not. Just simply don't know. With respect to the comments that were reported, I'm not going to speak to private diplomatic exchanges, other than to say that even if those comments were accurate as reported, they in no way show the United States taking a position on who the leader of Pakistan ought to be. We expressed concern privately to the government of Pakistan, as we expressed concern publicly about the visit of then Prime Minister Khan to Moscow on the very day of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We made that concern quite clear. But as the former Pakistani ambassador to the United States himself has stated, the allegations that the United States has interfered in internal decisions about the leadership of Pakistan are false. As we've stated, they're false. They've always been false, and they remain false.
Just to pursue that briefly, I guess the money quote in that was saying that Pakistan would, or that Imran Khan personally would have continued isolation because of his visit to Moscow. Is that? Can you explain that in terms of? I mean, if we take that as given that was an accurate comment, what that meant?
So without stipulating whether it's an accurate or comment or not, if you take all of the comments in context that were reported in that purported cable, I think what they show is the United States government expressing concern about the policy choices that the Prime Minister was taking. It is not in any way the United States government expressing a preference on who the leadership of Pakistan ought to be.
Well, look, Matt, just you can go. I think what I'm hearing is that essentially the substance of this report and the purported Pakistani cable back to Islamabad is accurate, but you're saying that it is not the U.S. saying that then Prime Minister Khan should leave office. Is that correct?
Close-ish. I cannot speak to the veracity. Close-ish. Then I'll explain what I mean.
I'll explain
what I mean by close-ish.
That's a diplomatic term.
Exactly. I'll explain what I mean by that, which is I cannot speak to the veracity of this document.
Okay.
What I can let me just finish. What I can say, let's even if those comments were all 100% accurate as reported, which I do not know them to be, they do not in any way show a representative of the State Department taking a position on who the leadership. They're commenting on.
You can understand, though, perhaps you can understand why other countries might think when the U.S. weighs in, even in a way like this, that it is taking a position on it. So, I mean, I can think name like 5 or 10 leaders who the United States has sought to oust, including some that it has been successful in ousting, although not only after military invasions. So, it's not an unprecedented thing for a country to think that the U.S. is trying to pressure it into, or trying to make its views known about who it thinks should be the leader of a country, right?
I will say that I can understand how those comments, number one, could be taken out of context, and number two, how people might desire for them to be taken out of context and might try to use them to advance an agenda that is not represented by the comments of themselves.
And do you think that's what's happening here?
I think a number of people have taken them out of context and used them for political purposes. I won't speak to intentions, but I think that's what's happened.
Thank you.